Philly kid. Philly, just hit the share button on your gizmo there before we get started.
I'll do it.
We'll load everybody up. Let everybody get loaded in. We are back live here on this Wednesday. Philly Kid show number 272 here in our the hobby that wouldn't go away, Phil. They just we tried to stop, but they just wouldn't let us.
No, you're still in the same chair as well,
I'm
right?
still in the same chair as I was when I started doing stuff for WWE and COVID and all the other things, and I'm still in this chair, man. You know, hey, listen, no reason to move. No reason for us to leave the chair.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Know, germs are flowing. Were you able to share up on your page?
I'm shared up, sir.
All right, we'll hit the start button in just a second. But listen, Philly Kid, we have another amazing show coming up today. Michael Berger is with us, legendary talk show host, game show host. He's an author. He's a keynote speaker. He's a pauper, a poet, a pirate, a king. The guy has done it all. And listen, he's one of us. You know, he's a host. He's looking, he's still looking to make it big in the business. But no, he's a guy who's done some amazing shows, and he's still getting it done. And we have one of the hottest young rap artists in the country coming up later on. Yellopain, Philly Kid. Yellopain coming up. That's Yello. As opposed to, my rap name, which is usually knee and joint pain. But he's taken the world by storm. He's got some amazing songs, this young kid. We're going to have him on a little bit later on. But what's going on, man? Listen, we'll start the show. I'll hit the button, and then we'll tell you why Suki's not here, and then we'll have another program. You ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Let's do it, Scotty.
There we go.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
Suki and Scott, the seven of hearts. Exactly.
This is a sexy show.
Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey as they bring you the Suki and Scott Show.
You guys nailed it. You're great. You ask great questions. You listen.
I answered you because I have respect for you guys, and it was a question respectfully put.
The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor.
You like De Niro and Cape Fear. Counselor!
Entertainment.
Jesse's girl.
Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
And optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Ultraviolet light, it gets in there and it just fights the kung flu, is that right? Okay.
Let's laugh together.
I love him.
The Suki and Scott Show.
Philly Kid, as the world goes to pot, all you could do is laugh together, right, bud? What else are you going to do? What else are we going to do?
Hey, man, just keep doing the show, because people from around the world are clamoring to be on the Suki and Scott Show. So I say we just keep doing that.
Yeah, baby. Listen, I'll give you something to laugh with right now. We'll start it off with a little laughter.
And she speaks 17 different languages. You could have stopped at the son of China's richest man. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen.
Coco speaks Chinese. Get it?
I get
it. There you go. Listen, you can watch that 1,000 times. You'll laugh every time you see it.
Anytime you see Suki laughing, you're going to laugh.
Yes, and by the way, speaking of Suki, she's not here today, Philly Kid. She'll be back tomorrow, and I'm sure she's wheezing right now as she is smack dab in the middle of a colonoscopy.
Well, I would be wheezing too.
Yes. Actually, listen, if she's in the middle of it, she's out cold with the propofol. But Suki not here today. She's getting her background checked, if you know what I mean. And she did say it was okay to let everybody know that she was getting a colonoscopy. I said, maybe we come in like Katie Couric did. We get a little action going. We do it for the show, Suk. She said, you're out of your mind. And that was that. So,
all right.
Good. She's good, man. She's good.
Fingers crossed for Suki.
Philly Kid, we have an amazing show today. Michael Berger's coming on, Yellopain. Don't forget, coming up on MeTV Plus this weekend, you remember the show we did with Phil Rosenthal from the creator Everybody Loves Raymond. He's also got Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. So MeTV Plus here in the New York area, Saturday morning. The legendary Phil Rosenthal joins us on MeTV. That was a great show. And speaking of legendary, our first guest, Philly Kid, Michael Berger. He's been on some amazing shows. You've seen him on game shows. He's a keynote speaker. He's an author. And he's a guy who has just, he's when you talk about guys who are like us, who are looking to make it in this business, Michael Berger is a guy who has, made a career in this business. Here he is. We'll bring him in on the other side and see how the hell he's doing. Take a look.
Hi.
Pretty good start, wasn't it? She would have finished it, but the guy with the cue cards fell over. Pull a nose hair. It works for me.
The answer that's given has been...
Are you okay?
I gotta loosen that up now.
Put that picture up. That's the doll that you trip on down the stairs and says, I don't like you, I'm going to kill you. Remember that?
So crazy.
Just want a little plug in there.
Man, how long have you been with ABC?
It's how much longer I'm going to be with ABC.
And if you don't mind, we're going to send you backstage. It's whatever's more difficult for you, apparently. I'm going to send you backstage. I'm going to kill you to leave her out and just have her cover her ears. No, we're going to send you to a soundproof booth. However we can make your life miserable, apparently is how the producers say it. Whatever gets you walking more with the cane is our theory. So we'll take you back. We may or may not see you. I'm not sure how you feel. You may just give up on the whole damn thing. Say goodbye to Ann.
And let's all appreciate this man who does the best warm-up in the business.
Good night.
Wow. High praise from the late, great Betty White, Michael Berger.
That's true.
Mike, good to see you, pal.
Good to see you, Scott. And I was in the green room, so I didn't hear the intro, and I'm just praying the person next to you is not Suki. You got to go to another doctor.
That's Suki after the colonoscopy. Yes.
Oh, is that what she's having?
Yes, colonoscopy.
Well, what do the four of us now have in common?
Yes. I said I'm already due for my second one. I'm a little older than she is.
I go once a week. I don't know if it's a bad doctor or I'm over medicating, but I just enjoy the propofol. How are you? And it's Phil. Is it Phil?
Yeah.
Hi, Phil. I've not met either one of you. You were nice enough to reach out, so I'm first of all, big fan of Philly and happy to be on the show.
Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. Listen, you've done it all in this business. And I'm sure if they came calling tomorrow to take over for Drew Carey on The Price is Right, you'd run back and continue to do it.
No, not anymore. You know how close I was. As you remember, when Bob was stepping down, they did a pretty big search to replace Bob. And a year prior to that, I was out on the road hosting The Price is Right live.
The live show, right?
Yeah. Casinos and Vegas and convention halls. And we'd get 1,000 people show up and play the game. And they did the same thing with Family Feud, which is one of the clips you saw there. And they were just getting us ready in case, like in the minors where you're pitching and you get called up to play big time.
Right.
So it got down to the wire. And the comment I heard from the president of CBS, Les Moonves at the time, was, Michael's great, but he reminds me a little bit of a younger Bob. And we don't want anybody reminding anybody of Bob.
Oh, jeez.
And they went another way.
Drew
Carey, I guess his name is.
Yeah. The young man. But you know what? It's such a subjective business to the person in charge, Michael. It could drive you insane. You know what I mean?
Well, I've been in it so long. I'm used to it. I've made peace with that. When I turned 40, I was sitting at the network with my agent, and we're looking to find another show. And the agent, thought he would do his best to put me in front of the right people. So it's the head of daytime. And they were kind enough, but they phrased it this way. Hey, Michael, hey, we love your work, but here's the thing.
Right.
That's never a good start.
Right.
We're going to hire the person that looks like the person we want watching us. Wow. I can be a lot of things, but I can't be an 18-year-old woman. You know, there's a certain demographic.
Yeah. No,
So that's
I
just
know.
part of the deal you make. And I've had and continue somewhat to have a great career. I'm no regrets.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Like you could, let me just get Phil back. He froze for a second. But you could know that you are the perfect guy for a particular job. And it's just it's the objectivity and the subjectivity of the whether you're a news person and it's the news director, it's the luck of the game. I mean, you really have to be lucky.
But every industry has that paradigm. So it's the life we've chosen. No regrets.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, what do you do when they say no? That's the big
right
fix.
Right.
You know, going back to the earlier, before I was zapped off by the internet. You know, one of my favorite things in some of these shows is overzealous fans. Do you have any good overzealous fan stories?
Well, you know, my career started at sea. So I began doing stand-up, and I got on a cruise ship, and you want to talk about a captive audience that could be nuts. And the beginning of my career started by hosting the Passenger Talent Show. You got to pick there. So that moment with that man and that 15 seconds launched my career.
That's amazing.
And here's the backstory. I was doing stand-up on ships. The cruise director came to me, and this is the 80s now, and said, "Hey, I've got something else to do. Can you fill in?" And by do, he meant that as a verb. You know, it was the 80s. So he said, "Could you host the Passenger Talent Show?" And I said, "Yeah, what do I do?" He goes, "Oh, you just talk to them and turn them loose." Now picture 1,000, 2,000 people on a ship coming back from Ensenada, a couple in the bag, and they get up on stage and do what they do. I said, "Sounds like a blast." So I get up on stage, and I had a 85-year-old woman tap dance to the Lord's Prayer. I had every possible form of talent you could imagine. Then I'm thinking I'm sitting on gold here. At the same time, I was doing warm-up on an old show called Dance Fever.
Ah, little Denny Terrio, sure.
Denny Terrio, and then Adrian Zemed.
Yeah, Adrian.
Cue card gal comes up to me on the break and said, "Hey, NBC's looking for a new host. They want somebody new. They want somebody unknown." I go, "That's me. I couldn't be more unknown. I'm on a ship in the middle of, nowhere." She goes, "Do you have a tape?" "Sure, I got a tape." I got no tape. So I put $2,500 on my credit card, and I buy that old school 2-piece video equipment, the camera and the bass unit.
Yeah.
And I lug it on the ship. I put it on a tripod. I push record, and I videotaped every one of these Passenger Talent shows. And I cut down just the moments where I'm doing the "Where you from? What do you do?" For me, that was more fun than stand-up. It was this interacting, as you would appreciate, as hosts do. So the magic moment came when that old man, standing next to me, we're going back and forth, having a good time. He grabs the mic and goes, "You must be saying something very funny, but I don't get it." Well, that's heaven, right? That was the last clip on my 6-minute demo. My first demo hosting tape is nothing but clips from this cruise ship.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm sitting at NBC, and he's looking at this VHS tape, and you got to go back to the 80s again, Rendezvous Lounge, mirror ball. Now, I just have the camera locked off in the back of the room, and it's listing because it's a ship. He's going, "What is this? Where are you?" Crowd's on fire. That's right. He goes, "Do you know why you're here?" I said, "Yeah, Mary Steck from Dance Fever recommended me." He goes, "No." He goes, "It's the interview with the old guy." I go, "How so?"
Wow.
He goes, "Well, there was a moment where he grabs the mic and gets off a pretty funny line." I go, "Oh." He goes, "The fact that you didn't come over the top with one more joke to top him is why you're sitting here." He goes, "I can teach you to host a game show. What I can't teach you is the instinct to make someone else look better." And that's the secret of hosting. And that began my career.
Yes. And I believe, I know as somewhat of a student of the game that, that was Johnny Carson's magic, was to, always putting the guest over and you just kind of being the guy who lets them do their thing and lets them make the magic.
Here's the greatest quote I heard from Carson. And it sums up every skill set of any successful host. And it's this, Johnny's quote: "Never try to be the best guest on your own show."
That's it. That's right. That's right.
That makes
sense. Drop the mic. Do that, and you'll be a host.
Which is easy for this show, Mike, because we're never the best guests on the show. So it works out
I'm in
perfect.
good company.
Listen, you early on in your career, you were, and I think of this only because, Soup just came off of doing her Find Love Live on TLC over the summer. But you were pretty big and hosting some of these dating shows.
Oh, wow.
You did,
Boy, you
right?
went back a way.
Straight to the heart. You were
Yep.
doing, what was it? The Personals? Was it? What did you
You
enjoy
remember-
doing that?
We shot 7 a day. We would do 135 and then take 8 months off. Yeah. It was the greatest gig in the world. Personals, if you go back far enough, was a show created by Rick Rosner, who created the TV show Chips.
Okay.
And he based it on that fad that happened for 3-4 years, which was the writing of personal ads where you were looking for some type of person. They said, we can do a show out of this. So people would write to us and say, I'm looking for nurses, I'm looking for firemen, I'm looking for lumberjacks. And we would find them and we'd put them together. And the person that selected each other's answers, most often we figured were most compatible, and had a blast.
So fun.
But I'll tell you, that show came out of me doing an audience warm-up. And for those that are not familiar with this, I see some nodding heads there.
Yeah.
A sitcom tapes in front of a live studio audience. And it was my job to stand there and entertain 300 people. There you go. For the 5 hours it takes to shoot 22 minutes. Started my career doing that at the same time I did stand-up. Had some TV shows, didn't do it. Got a call out of the blue saying, do you want to do a show with Betty White? And I went, yep. That show was hot in Cleveland. There you go. And I spent 135 Friday nights with Betty doing the sitcom warm-up. And on most of those shows, you dread a long night. On this one, we just wanted to be in the same atmosphere as Betty. And she's everything you would hope she would be. I like saying, if you think she's nice to animals, you should see her with people.
Yeah.
One of the most remarkable people I'd ever met.
Well, she said earlier you were one of the best in that video earlier. So I mean, that's what a better
kind of her.
What a better recommendation.
And you watched her work, and everybody on that show, the kids, she called them, Valerie Bertinelli, Jane Leaves, Whitney Ballock, were all in awe of it's Betty. And Betty would make a mistake occasionally, but the 80 years of muscle memory, the things she would say on the fly that you never saw on the show. One night we're taping in front of this live audience. There's this awkward pause, and Betty looks up and goes, if no one's saying anything, it's probably my turn. Huge laugh. There's a mistake. Director yells, hey, we need to go back. Betty goes, how far? The pilot? I mean, she never was at a loss for words. And in this storyline, they kept fixing the girls up with suitors. And with Betty, they had to go younger because all of the old ones are moving on, shall we say. Yeah. The last one that was age appropriate was Carl Reiner. So picture this, tape night, live audience. There's a scene where the two of them kiss. And I'm standing there because I get to be the interface, between the audience and the actors. So they cut, and he had kissed her. And I said, Mr. Reiner, you just kissed Betty. How was that? And he goes, oh, it was unbelievable. She has all of her own teeth and her original tongue. he says it. That's not scripted. Bam. So you watch these pros work, and you say, please don't let this end.
Oh my God, that is amazing. Wow. That is amazing.
Yep. Nice.
And she listen, Jess, she passes right before New Year's, and everybody listen, to almost live to 100 is an unbelievable life, and what a career. I just saw her recently. Somebody posted, I guess when she passed away, just her and Joan Rivers sitting on the Tonight Show. Yep. Joan was guest hosting, and they were just going back and forth with each other with the one-liners. And if you ever get to see it, Philly Kid, go check it out.
It's a great clip.
Just the two of them.
Give you a perfect story about Betty that'll sum her up for those that didn't know her. They did a pilot for a show that went to series called Just Men. Alfred Molina, great cast. So pilot night is a big night. All the execs are there. You hoping the audience is hot because maybe it goes well and gets picked up.
Yeah.
Betty during the rehearsal week is letter perfect, not blowing a line. First scene, tape night, live audience, all of the pressure. Betty makes 2 mistakes right off the bat. At the end of the show, the producer goes up and says, Betty, you were perfect all week. Everything okay? And she goes, somebody had to put a scratch on the new car. She knew how much tension. She knew how nervous they were. And she goes, I'll take the hit.
Right. That is truly amazing.
So you also do, besides network speaking, you also do corporate speaking as well. What's
it was a nice overlay from stand-up and hosting television shows. The corporate world is really not that much different. The same skill set it takes to host a show sometimes is this very same thing you need in sales. It's never about you. It's about them, how to engage. So I started dovetailing that skill set and speaking around the country. I had an executive once say to me from one of these Fortune 500 companies, he goes, you know, we got a pretty smart group here. He goes, do you think you can hold them for 45 minutes to an hour? And I went, I stood in front of the Mr. Belvedere audience for 5 hours. Yeah, I got your group handled. So I work with these organizations on, you know, how to leverage a trend, how to be better communicators. And a lot of that is the same skill set. So I've done that for the last 10 years, wrote a couple of books about it, and it still lets me come out and play with an audience, still work some humor in. It's just adapting. A buddy of mine that a lot of your listeners and viewers would know, Ross Schaefer. You see, I co-wrote my first book with him.
Yeah,
Another
Ross, wow.
game show host. We hosted Match Game at different times, obviously. We both had talk shows, and he's a good friend and said, come do this with me. Come out and you'll see how much fun it is. But his great line about the business is, if you don't like change, you're probably going to hate extinction. And doesn't that apply to all of us? Look at you. You're still doing it. You're in a basement in a bunker somewhere, but you're still hosting. I mean, we love it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, Mike. And you know, we're reaching 3 million people a month. And just from this little show, we have, you know, we basically are on all these
Let me
different
get that right. You said
platforms.
3 million a month?
3 million a month.
Because I would have put a coat on if I knew you were that. That's what I'm going to go play tennis in about a half hour. I didn't know you were that big a deal.
Yeah, no, and listen.
I apologize now. But then I don't have Spooky. So it's really kind of a trade-off. I didn't get what I want. You're not getting what you want.
That's true. That's true. And the beautiful thing about these shows is we've done so many guests and entertainers that you can mix and match different interviews, put them together for half-hour shows, 60-minute shows, and then you get places like, you know, the Meet TV network, who take some of your shows, and there's so many streaming sites, and it's just,
well, you know what, you make a good
endless
point. And I don't know if I'm speaking out of school here, but I watched that intro and it's star-studded. It's like, you know, Night of 100 Stars. I'm not in there because I haven't been on the show. Fair to say?
Of course. Well, you're going to be in after the show. Yeah.
Are you saying that I might make the?
You will be in the next sizzle reel.
You're not just saying that.
Listen, here's what I need you to do, Michael. Phil and I are going to lay out. I just need you to look at the camera and say, Scott and Phil, this is the greatest show I've ever been on. Go ahead.
Can't do that. I can't really get behind something I don't believe in. What about Suki? You don't feel she's spitting and you know how you have to break a little wind before you leave the room? That's her case. That's her life. And now I throw her under the bus with Captain Phil, who doesn't take the time to move the tripod out of the picture. How big a show is this when you've got stuff you're selling on eBay 3 feet from you? Make an effort. Put a battery in the clock. How sad is Phil's life?
Phil's clock hasn't moved in 2 years, Michael.
Well, neither is Phil, but my point is make an effort. You think this means, you know, those are all the things that are no longer here, yet I embrace it.
That's so funny.
That looks good. I feel
no,
like
do you want me to drop a promo for you? Is that what you're saying?
No, I was teasing, but if you'd like to make the sizzle reel, it's got to be you either have to sing or you have to say something insanely amazing about the show.
Like that. Oh, that hasn't happened yet? Is that what you're saying?
No, I have to go through and find, you know.
Okay. Wow, a lot of pressure. By the way, speaking to that, you've just made me think of this story about Carl Reiner. When I was doing Mike and Maddie, he came on the show, and I always watched Carl Reiner on The Tonight Show back in the day, right? You'd stay up. And there was an episode that always made the best of Carson. And it was when Carl Reiner came out and he cut Johnny's tie. And Carson didn't know this was going to happen.
Right.
And he set Carson up by saying, you always look great, but in my opinion, Johnny, the tie, it's not working. And so Johnny plays along and he said, would you stand up? And he pulls out a pair of scissors and he cuts Johnny's tie. Place goes nuts. It makes the anniversary reel. Carl comes on Mike and Maddie. It's at the end of the interview and said, Carl, you know, I'm a fan. I said, I sure would like a moment that I would remember forever, like you did with Johnny.
Yeah.
And I pull out a pair of scissors and he goes, you can't cut my tie. My wife, I said, no, cut mine, cut my tie. He stands up and he cuts the tie and he goes, I'm going to do it like it's never been done. He doesn't cut it this way. He cuts it this way, straight up. I have that cut tie framed in a shadow box with his signature.
That's amazing.
I felt I had arrived at the business because Carl Reiner cut my tie.
I love it. I love
Wow.
it. Go ahead, Phil.
It's awesome how you have these one-liners and you know, I imagine you for several hours at a time with these on these network shows, you know, warming them up and just one right after the other. At what point in your life did you say, hey, you know what? I want to stand up in front of people and just do these zingers? I mean, you know, because a lot of people can't even get up in front of their own family and talk for 2 minutes.
You know, the fun of a sitcom warm-up is that you do get 3, 4, or 5 hours to play, and nobody has that kind of material except maybe Jay Leno. So it forces you to improv and play. And for me, the sitcom warm-up was the perfect hybrid of stand-up and hosting, and you're in a pretty cool arena. Betty White, you name it. I started doing warm-ups again back in the 80s. So it was a way to keep working on that craft. So those little zingers were just, some were ad libs, some were just a bank stored from doing it for 30 years. Some of it starting from elementary school when I would sit in the class and make jokes, and the teacher would say, Michael, if you think it's so funny, why don't you get up and share it with the room? And I got up and did a tight 10. You know, that's just how we're wired. You know? Enjoy your recess. You've been great.
Yeah. Michael, have you been watching? You ever watch Amazing Mrs. Maisel on? Of
course.
What a great show! Your tight 10 just reminded me of that because we just watched it up, you know, through the first 3 seasons, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
I've met more people reference that show to me about stand-up, and watching her do it and her timing, and of course the material is written. She's not ad-libbing.
Right.
But it shows you the process of what it takes. You know, Jerry Seinfeld's another master at taking all of that material, and his world, his goal is to see how many words you can throw out and still make the joke funny. It's all about economy for somebody like Jerry.
Right.
So those icons that write and do that are people that I aspire to hone that. The sitcom warm-up is another world. You don't have to be tight. You just have to fill.
Right. You're filling that time.
For those old enough listening, back in the, again, 80s, there was a network television show that came on once a year called Circus of the Stars. You guys remember that?
I remember Circus. Yeah.
Or maybe not big names, maybe second tier, third tier would be put through a series of circus acts. So the very first couple warm-ups I did, they asked me to come to Vegas and warm up this audience for Circus of the Stars. Oh, it'll be a good break. You'll meet lots of people. Hey, whatever. You'll get a per diem. Sure, good. So I go to, sounded like Christopher Walken there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good, nice. Might be a nice warm-up. You know, maybe some extra money. Anyway, everybody does Walken. I'm sorry.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
Not bad. So picture this: 130 degrees in the heat of Las Vegas. Tourists from all over the globe are standing in this heat of Vegas for 8 hours to come into a tent and watch Merv ride an elephant.
Right.
You know, the novelty of that wears off good 10 minutes in. And now it takes about 10 hours to shoot that because it's every celebrity doing they're jumping on a trampoline, that's a trapeze bar, they're dancing ponies. 3 days, 10 hours a day. That longest warm-up in my life. I did 30 hours of material.
30 hours of material. That is
stop,
unreal.
start. By the end, I'm asking people from the Dakotas if they'd flossed. You know, I've got nothing left.
Right.
Did you ever your colonoscopy? You know,
when you're trying to kill time, do it as a warm-up guy for those shows in between their takes. Did you ever throw in some quiz show stuff with the audience?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I had all sorts of bits to put in. TV trivia games, you know, stuff that would expand. And I never wanted to go to the written stuff if I could keep milking the improv.
Yeah.
That they don't know what I'm not doing. But on those shows I'd worked on, these actors were so nice to play along. We did Q&A with Betty, with the cast. I worked with John Ritter on 8 Simple Rules. Again, I go as far back as Christopher Hewitt and Mr. Belvedere, and they were all great. Bob Euchre is standing in the corner with a football just between breaks. I go, hey, Bob, how's that arm? And he goes, pretty good. And he drills it, but he drills it the other way, just as a gag. Hits a woman in the head and goes, might be a little stiff. Just walks away.
That's very good.
I've got hours and hours and hours of that kind of fun, on set. And you kind of feel like you're in the business, because you do get to drive on the lot. The writers and the executive producers and the actors will come to me and say, how's the crowd tonight? I mean, it all comes down to that live audience. And if they're not in a good mood, 2, 3, 4 hours in, it's like the Stockholm syndrome. They want to say anything to me to get me to release up, right? But if they're having laughs, if they're having fun, it's a party.
I think,
Wow.
listen, to this day, the live shows, or even the shows that, everybody's got the warm up guys who stand out there, or the ladies. You did, you, and again, it reminds me of Suki and I in some way, because you had the Mike and Maddie show, which you guys did on ABC, and you have so many people come in and out, the celebrities, which, as we did, doing a morning show here in New York. So I just wanted to pop up a few pictures. Because some of them that I found were amazing to me. So you got,
Mike and Maddie was a morning talk show on ABC, everywhere in the country, 10 o'clock. And Burt Reynolds, who we went to the set of Evening Shade and got this interview with this legend, and he was everything you'd hope for.
It's
unpredictable, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, great.
And that was my co-host, Maddie.
Was Claudia Schiffer co-host?
I really should call her back. I should really call her back.
You never returned her call, huh?
At the time, she was dating the guy with the shoulder pads, Copperfield.
Yeah, David Copperfield, right? Let's see. You got you and a little shot of Oprah right here.
Oh, my gosh. When you're in Oprah's world for a nanosecond, you're everything to her. And this is, I think, is part of her magic, is you feel like you matter to Oprah. I got invited to the Oscars to be part of the presentation. We were ABC, so it was all very, incestuous.
Right.
You're on our network. You can come see the show.
Yeah.
And I got to interview Oprah, and then she says, "You want to go to the Oscars with us?" I went, "No, I got some things soaking in woolite, Oprah." So I sat at the table with Oprah and Stedman, and she's as nice as you could be. And in Chicago, we followed Oprah. So really, it was like a lead-in, with the Pope. She said, "Hey, I like these kids." When we went on in 1994 in Chicago, we followed Oprah. And from that moment until we were canceled, it was our highest rated city to be in, because Oprah said, "Watch them."
Watch them. Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal. And speaking
Does she call now? No. Have I heard from her?
No. Would she remember you think?
No.
Nah.
I'll tell you what she did do, though. She loved our theme song. And again, for those that remember the show, "Rise and Shine, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood." That song that someone wrote for us to be our theme for Mike and Maddie, she loved so much. She played that to her audience every show to kind of warm them up. Oh my God, that's our promo shot from back in the day.
I remember Maddie was cute. Maddie
still is cute.
Very
Maddie's
talented.
Very talented.
Wow.
Maddie had not hosted a talk show, had not done stand-up. I had the show. Disney, ABC was looking for a co-host for me. You would appreciate this, Scott. So they interviewed these women, and the audition process was putting somebody next to me in the office at Disney, and we would just have a host chat to see if there was chemistry. 80 women later, Maddie flew herself in from Miami. She was a presenter on a Spanish game show called Sábado Gigante.
I remember. That's still on. That's still
first
on.
English show. She's bilingual, of course. Sat and was so entertaining. At the end of this 5-minute little audition, they offered her the show, and we shot a pilot 3 months later. We were on the air 9 months later.
God.
And I got to know Maddie, as maybe you did with Suki, on the air. I learned everything about her as we did 535 episodes in 2 years. And it was wonderful.
No, it's wild. And you know what? I'm sorry you had to sit through 80 people. She could have just come in first. Would have made it easier for you.
You know what? It wasn't that bad a job.
I could imagine. I could imagine.
There were wonderful women, although, and the secret to it, both of you would appreciate this, is that those that sat down and tried to be a host and try to say something entertaining never had a chance. Those that told something authentic. Maddie told the story of flying in from Miami to LA, falling asleep and worrying that she was drooling, because that's not a good look. Right. So I said to her in Spanish, and she said the whole thing again in Spanish. It was so authentic, so funny, so real. They said, "Well, this is a fascinating woman," and they were correct. And then Christina Ferrari, who I did 2 years with on Home and Family, was equally engaging, but on a whole different level.
Yeah. And you replaced Chuck Woolery. Chuck Woolery was the host of that.
To be fair, right? Chuck had decided to move on, and I got lucky and took the spot. And Christina and I we were a match made in heaven. Beautiful. She would tell you, she's a gal with her own famous career. I'm the one coming in. I don't have her career. She's 200 magazine covers, most popular, most beautiful woman in the world at one time. DeLorean X, what a history. Working with Regis all those years. So she'd come in and tell you straight up in the makeup trailer, not going to be a good day. I'm not happy. Whatever it is, and then you deal with it, but you knew because it was her. My goal was to get her to laugh so hard she'd snort, and I'd figure that was a good day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it happened almost every day. Did 1,000 hours with her, live at Universal. Woody Frazier produced. It was just, oh gosh.
Well, Michael,
those
did
days
you see?
were great.
Did you see what I played at the beginning with Suki wheezing from our old morning show?
I thought that was some sort of gas leak in the city. That literally sounded like something that needed to be attended to by the utility company. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, no, but I know what you're saying. That was my
That's her
goal every
laugh?
day. That was my goal, was to get her to do that every day. Obviously not during breaking news, but something a little lighter in the morning. But if you can get Suki to wheeze and get her going and she couldn't come back from it, that's what the audience loved the most. That's what you'd get the best response from, because it would make them laugh at home a little bit in the morning.
Well, and it also says a lot about Suki and people that are so willing to laugh and not worry about how they're supposed to come off.
Right.
People will forgive a lot of things, but what they're drawn to is being authentic. It's something we talk about in the corporate circuit too, about people don't mind buying from you. They just don't want to be sold.
Right. Exactly.
Whether that's hosting, whether that's selling a product, just be authentic. That goes a long way.
Yeah. Michael, you've had a long career and you're still going strong. If Michael was going to give a piece of advice to somebody just starting out in your business, say you were going to give a young Michael.
I'm sorry. I don't know where you found that, but that's not proper. Oh my God.
You were going to give young Michael some advice.
Hold on. Let me just remark at that photo and realize that's probably not retouched, unlike mine today.
Michael,
that's pretty close to factory.
Talk to this young man right there, this good-looking fellow.
Well, would it kill you to put a collar on? I would say that. I say go for it. My gosh, finite amount of time. If it's what you do, I knew from an early stage that I just love this. Whatever it is I do. I love making people laugh. I love the fun of it. Hey, Reg and Susan Lucci. Gosh.
Yeah.
If you can stomach it, if you can handle the word no. RJ. Oh my gosh. Let me give you a quick RJ story. Robert Wagner. So he comes on Mike and Maddie, and he's hosting a telethon that happens every year, a charity event at Griffith Park. So he says, come to the park and you can help me MC this event. Okay, great. So now I'm approaching Robert Wagner. It's Robert Wagner, of all people. It doesn't get any cooler than that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm walking up to him and he sees me coming and he's standing as well. And he opens his arm up a little like that, puts his arm through mine and goes, Michael, walk with me. So old school, right? You don't get that. So he was on the show for the first time and you've cropped the picture, but the reason I took that is that we're wearing the same shoes. But, oh man, I've made it. I'm wearing RJ's shoes.
Robert's shoes. That's great.
Yeah. So what would I tell my younger self? I have a quote that I kind of live by, which is, it's okay to look back, but it's a waste of time to stare. So I wouldn't keep measuring yourself by your failures and looking back saying I shoulda, coulda. I would just keep moving forward. And I'd keep pursuing what you do. But on the other hand, don't, if I may say, half-ass it. You become a doctor and you've spent so much time in school and then residency and all of the sacrifice, and people think they can just walk into showbiz without any workshops or acting classes or social media promoting. It's exactly what you two are doing. It doesn't just happen unless you get lucky with a TikTok video and then God bless you, then all bets are off. But if you want to be great at what you do, put the work in.
Got to put the work in. Michael, thank you so much. Listen, man, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on, sir. And listen, one of these days when I'm off, you come guest co-host the show for me. It's if you're not doing anything, it's fine.
But Phil's right there. How embarrassing is that? Do you not have a sense of how your feelings hurt other people?
No, I mean when I'm not here. When I'm not here, you.
Oh, I'm all over that. Phil, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
We can dump Scott, Suki, whatever. Who cares? It's you and me, Phil. From here on,
we can do it.
We're just going to get you another rental apartment so it doesn't look like it's all over for you. That's all I'm saying.
Phil's out. He's out in his man cave. Michael, thank you so much.
Now, do I need to say something so I get into the evergreen reel? Do you need one more thing?
If you want to do it, then when I put together the new sizzle reel, I will absolutely include that 4 seconds from you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And I'll tag it now and say Scott and Phil. Boy, they're great. Another take. Is that believable?
Yeah,
That didn't work.
Give me one more. Give me one more.
Phil's pretty good. That's it.
No, I'll give you one more opportunity. It has to sound like it's in conversation. You know, guys, this is one of the best shows I've ever been on.
You know, may I take a moment here to Scott? May I take a moment, Scott, and tell you how much? Don't interrupt,
Michael,
Scott.
you go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Scott, may I take a moment to tell you how much fun I've had?
Yes.
I mean, not here. I just mean I had some fun. No, I love the Scott and Suki show. And for those celebrities, I don't want to call myself that, but I will at your insistence. If you want to come on the Scott and Suki show, I'd say do it. I mean, don't count on Suki and, you know, Scott. So that could be wild. But Phil's pretty good. Is that good? Is that good?
It's possible. We'll have to look it up. We'll look at it.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. I'm bored myself.
Thanks, guys.
Michael, thank you, buddy. Absolute pleasure, my man.
Likewise.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Michael.
Bye.
What a good guy, Philly kid.
Oh man, that guy is hilarious.
Yeah,
hilarious.
No, he's funny. And listen, when you're a host, right? That's why he's always done so well. I mean, he's quick-witted, obviously.
Right.
Like you said, he's dealing with 5 hours of, good take, bad take, killing some time in between takes. And that's not easy to do. But obviously, you could see he does it very easily, and you know that he puts a lot of preparation into everything he does.
Yes.
Listen, you're gonna be. Are you singing later on in the program as per the usual? Because I know you. Are you a big rap guy, Phil? I know you're a big rap guy, right?
Yes, I do.
Like
like
Grandmaster
rap.
Flash, all those guys, right?
Yes, that's what I'm a 80s guy, that's,
you're an 80s rap guy, Biz Markie.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You love those guys, right? I mean,
Yes.
I just heard one of my favorite songs is "Oh Baby You Got What I Need." I was singing that to my kid the other day in the car. I used to love Biz Markie. I still do. But anyway, listen, this next guy is coming up, Yellopain. Like I said, we have a lot in common because that's his stage name. My rap name was always Joint and Back Pain. But he is literally taking the rap world by storm, Philly kid. The guy's gone viral. He's got millions of hits on his social media. He's got celebrities who are sharing his music around social media. People like Sharon Stone, for God's sake. He's got some good stuff out. He had this viral hit called "My Vote Don't Count." I'm going to play a little bit of that for you in a little bit. He's got another a recent song out, a video called "Yellow Wonka" that he produced with DJ Manny Fresh. I know one of your favorite DJs out there. But here's a little bit of Yellopain, and then we're going to bring him in on the other side. Take a look.
I remember sleeping on the carpet before I ever sat inside a plane to see how at the party. Had a $40 knockoff Jordan sneakers, they was talking. And they was talking loud before I bought the Jeep cause we was walking. Me and Reese lived on couches, but had meetings like some bosses. I swear them ramen noodles taste like pizza when you starving. Miss DP&L payments, we was sleeping in the darkness. Even though I couldn't see shit, I was dreaming and I saw it. Even though my city ain't got famous people there, I saw it. I screamed when Lansky died, I really think that's when I lost it. Before COVID-19, I had to sit and get to tell him he inspired me before they called him. My city gotta see it. I believe that was my calling. So I saw myself on TV before BET was calling. I saw people I love up and leave me. That was heartless. I guess they thought when I told them my dream, I was just talking. Like every year I was gonna say it was my year, and it never be my year, and I never make it here. But I was up at 5 a.m. and they slept cause they ain't care. And they bought the latest Jordans, ain't invest in their careers. When they laughed at what I wore, they was projecting all their fears. But that only turned me up, they should've never interfered. Dumbass, my vision wasn't impressing on my peers. I was way more interested in a breakfast on the lyre. When you trying to be the greatest, you ain't focused on those shoes. But they played me like a lame, I was socially abused. So I put my trust in God, and he multiplied my views. I performed before Obama, talked to Oprah on the Zoom.
Talking to Oprah on the Zoom, Yellopain.
Wow. Hey, I'm going to start this off. I want to tell you, sir, I've been listening to Yellopain music today and all day today, and watching some of your videos, and my eyes would be locked on the screen without blinking from beginning to end, and the messages that you convey are so powerful and timeless, and a lot of times I was honestly shaken to my core. I mean, the messages are, again, they're just so powerful, man. And my question is, what inspires those beautiful, powerful songs that you put out?
It's real life experiences. Majority of the songs, like I would consider myself a bit of an empath. So a lot of people around me, they go through things, and sometimes I don't have the right words to say. So I'm able to put it in the music. Or some of the things that I go through, I put it out in the music.
I love it. Yeah, a lot of societal issues, that you deal with, racism, equality in those songs. First of all, do your friends, when they shorten your name, do they call you Yellow, or they call you Pain, or is it YP? Which one?
It's Yellow. I'm not gonna. Okay, so because I got people that love me that call me Pain, I'm not gonna say I hate Pain, but it's just like that's the bad.
You gotta go Yellow. You gotta go Yellow.
Yeah, you gotta go Yellow. You see how you like Yellow? What's up? All right, cool.
Look, now what inspired you to take that name, Bud, as your stage name?
Yeah, so I was trying to find like a name that really represented the type of music I make. And Yellopain was perfect because yellow is a color that represents happiness, right? And then pain, that represents everything I ever been through. So Yellopain is a happy representation of my pain, basically meaning stay strong no matter what.
I love it, man.
So you're from Dayton, Ohio. I live in Oklahoma City, and there's a young rapper here named JB Williams, and he in Oklahoma City, and he does a lot of kind of similar things about the same kind of things that you do and whatnot, and you remind me of him so much, and he's also one of my favorite artists. Where did you get your inspiration when you first started out?
Well, when I first started rapping, I was looking up to my older cousin. So I was like 7 years old, and he was rapping. He was living with us at the time. So he was like rapping about like what most people rap about, like street stuff, like girls, cars, money, etc. And he had more than I had seen at the time from any of my peers, just being 7 years old. So I idolized that, and I got into rap, and I dove into it. That was my first inspiration. Rest in peace to my cousin. But I think around 12 or 13, I started to go through a lot of life experiences where, like, from bullying to just poverty, going to school without like the nice shoes and the nice clothes. And I was, I kind of got real emotional. And because I had already built that foundation of being interested in rap, that's what I turned to release my emotions. It was like the only place I truly felt like I could go to like express myself. So that's really like my inspiration, is just the things that went on around me.
I love it, man. I love it. Listen, wherever people get it from, I mean, listen, you turned it into something that's growing every day. The song I played on the way in, that was Yellow Wonka.
Yeah,
and that's the one that you produced by Manny Fresh, right? The DJ.
Yeah, DJ Manny Fresh.
And I'll tell you, first of all, Yellow, your voice is deep, man. You got a good. You should be doing some voiceovers, bro.
I've heard that before.
You got that good deep voice going. But what was it like? Obviously, this was something that was special for you to work with him and have this produced by him.
Yeah, man, it was a blessing, to be honest. Working with, it's funny, I popped the picture up, but I ain't that's to me. No, seriously though, it was really like iconic for me, because just a year. But just at the end of 2019, I did a freestyle over a Manny Fresh beat, and I was like, and at the end of the freestyle, I was like, in 2020, I'm a blow. Like, I was talking about it, and then in 2020, that was like that year that I was on the Zoom call with Oprah, Steve Harvey, all these crazy moments. I went really viral, and then to end that year off with being in the studio with Manny Fresh, it was just like, man, like that was like manifestation right there.
Do you remember what that freestyle was that you did?
Nah, I don't remember that one. Yeah.
So you say you could just freestyle and it's just coming off the top of your head.
Well, no, well, I mean, I can do that, but I don't like to do that as much. When I say freestyle, it's more so just like a loose verse. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I got you. All right, because I was gonna make you go. I was gonna make you go. Give us a little freestyle Suki and Scott show rap.
Yeah, we can rap for sure.
Give me something that we can use as a new opening to the show, like a new opening theme song.
Okay, I'm gonna stage y'all that. We're gonna work on that. I can rap a lot of.
All right, go ahead, but let me hear.
Look, I want $100 million before I go. I go harder than Bernard, Muhammad Ali, Rocky Foe. Honey, listen, I ain't rich, so what would I be cocky for? It's like I'm cocky because I promised on my mama I'm a blow. I repent for that because I ain't trying to get my mama pent for that. Rap, I'm trying to get rich from that. Take a flight like a diplomat. Take a bite of my swag. Ooh, that tastes good, but you sick from that. All these girls in my inbox, I hope my girl don't trip from that. Hold up, they getting mad, but I ain't finna go tit for tat. I'm on a mission like Men in Black. No Tommy Lee, no Cinemax. They was catching monsters. I want my monsters in prison back. Can't dap them up, can't interact. You don't know pain if you ain't been through that. Hold up. I rap because I'm promoting content to tell my homies shopping less Jordans and more deposits. Manage a business where you annually gross a profit. But all my elders think I rap because it's my only option. You don't think I could have been an astrophysicist, pediatrician, chief executive of a business? I could be whatever dream I put my mind to, but won't nothing hit the people like these rhymes do.
Yellow, you know what I love? You know what I love about that?
What's up?
You rhyme physicist with business. That was good.
That's why he's the professional he is.
That was good, man. Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Now, listen, you did that song a couple of years ago, My Vote Don't Count.
Yeah.
Which really, I mean, I was looking it up on YouTube. It's over 2 million views, right? I think it's close to 3 million views.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play a little bit of it and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Take a look at this.
See, they don't want to see us vote, and we never do, so we see the same thing. But all our votes really do count, and they'll never really let it show. So now I'm finna break it down, cause if I don't, you would probably never know. First thing first, you know back in middle school when they taught us, it was 3 branches of the government. We forgot it when we got older. It's the judicial, the legislative, and executive. But all we know is the executive. That's the mayor or the governor and the president. Now none of them 3 people make no laws, they just be checking them. The laws come to their desk and all they do is say no or yes to it. So when the news station tried to tell us that Barack Obama couldn't put us on, we was all salty at Obama when it was the Congress members all along. We gotta focus on the legislative branch. Yeah, they the ones that make the laws. Yeah, they the ones write how much food stamp money you get on the card. But when people that wanted to help us wanted the job, I know they probably lost. Cause we ain't even know their name, we ain't know their face, we ain't know it all. So the Congress or the State House, that's legislative, they make laws. So what we want from the president is what they do. Okay, y'all?
Oh, sorry, bro. That was that is real. You know, when you listen to the whole thing, it's all about, you know, and I think it started out with the opening video is when Obama wins the presidency.
Yeah.
And then you bring it to present day. And it's just, you know, we talk about those societal issues and especially what's going on now with the voting rights and whatnot. It's, you know, it's all about who's counting the votes now rather than who's allowed to vote, who's counting the votes. But, you know, did you write that song yourself?
Yeah, I wrote that song from the beginning.
Wow. That is amazing, man. It's amazing. And a guy, you know, you're what? You got to be in your mid-20s, early 20s?
Yeah,
just, you know, and it's people your age who are, you know, coming out and telling everybody how you feel, and you're doing it in song. And you know, it shows you in the classroom, you're teaching kids what the hell's going on with the different branches of government and how things work. And once you're, you know, once you're educated about it and you know what's actually going on, then you can vote intelligently when you go out there and do it. So your vote really does count.
Exactly. And I try to tell people, like, I didn't know much about the voting process. Far before I wrote that song, I was on the side of, like, my vote don't count, like the community that I'm from. A lot of the people, you know, that I know and my relatives and my friends, like, they like, you know, voting, that don't matter. I voted for Obama in 2012. I'm saying? Nothing happened, nothing miraculous. Like it wasn't no economic prosperity. So, you know, I just didn't believe in the system. My cousin Desiree, she was running for Congress that year in 2020, and she asked me to make a song, and I denied it at first. I'm like, cause I'm cool on the vote and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna believe in it. But no, she broke it down to me, and she explained it to me in the exact same way that I broke it down in the video with the board. She broke it down to me, and she showed me how it worked, and she let me know that pretty much everything in our country ties back to voting, from the how much money we make every 2 weeks, from the condition of the roads to the food we eat. You know, everything is voted for. And once I fully understood that, it was my duty to teach the people who were around me that didn't know what I had just learned. It was my obligation to make sure everybody that I knew exactly that information. Yeah.
Nice.
Beautiful,
So
man. Beautiful.
Hey, listen, I'm going to go back a couple of years there, because again, I was looking at the Yellopain music today, and again, some of it just chills. There may have even been a couple of tears shed, but there's a song called "The Graduation."
Yeah.
And the favorite kid, and Scotty, I want to ask you and anybody else who's watching, please go see that video. I know it's a couple of years old, but the story behind it, and you know how brothers and sisters can react to each other sometimes, and I'm not going to give away the ending of it, but because you have to see the ending of this video. But talk, if you want to, a little bit about that video. Is that something that was in your own life, or where did that come from?
No, like I said, I'm a bit of an empath. So people around me, their stories really touch me. And let me just give you a little bit of my background to let you know why that song was so important. So my parents, right? I grew up in a house with, like, when I say 16, it's like a relative number. Sometimes it was much less, sometimes it was much more, because I have the type of parents that take everybody in. Like if you just need a place to go, you know, like even if we struggling, come on, like, you know, you got,
yeah,
okay, you got to sleep on the floor in the living room, you know what I'm saying, make a pallet, like, you're welcome, you know what I'm saying. It's always been that type of love. And I've seen it, and I've seen even my mother struggle to try and make sure that she split herself between, you know, 12, 13 people at one time, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen what that looks like. I've seen a person who has like no or little to no resources give everything they have to so many people at the same level, at the same quantity, you know what I mean? And then I have other people that I obviously I won't tell you who, but I have people that I've been around and experienced who has parents that make those excuses, like, I don't have enough money for your birthday, but I got enough money for his birthday, or I can't do this for you, but I could do that for him, or I could do that, you know. And it's like that type of thing, and it drew on my heartstring, because I could see where it was favoritism, and I see people get so emotional, suicidal, and I've seen that story over and over and over, and I know that it's possible because I lived it, you know what I mean? And that's what made that song so important for me to make.
Amazing. Yeah, well, I got to check that out.
Yeah. Graduation on YouTube. Tune in.
Yellow, listen, before we go, two quick things.
Let's get it.
Tell our audience, because this will run like in 20 other places at different times. Where can people find your music on social and everywhere else?
You can find it at Yellopain. It's YELLOPAIN. It's no W. At Yellopain on all platforms, on streaming platforms, on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. Spelled exactly the same, at Yellopain.
I love it. And listen, before you go, can you give me a little bit of Monsters?
The song?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, do I remember the words? That's kind of old.
Oh, all right. If you don't remember, give me a little of something else that you like.
Let me see. I'm gonna try to do Monster since you asked for it.
All right, go ahead.
So I just want to talk to you one time. I really don't want to, but I have to. Gotta ask you, did you really have to? My trust wasn't even that bad, and I would have put it past you. Now I don't trust shit. Can I come on here?
Yeah, go ahead. You can.
Now I don't trust shit, because you want to do that little dumb shit. Wonder if you went to sleep that night, probably felt bad, slept it off, woke up, ate something. Hold up, I ain't eat nothing. Way too disgusted. Yeah. I was up crying, pain in my stomach.
It's all right. If you can't remember, it's all right. You know, like before you came on, like I would. Do you listen to guys like the old school guys, like the Biz Marquis and the Grandmaster
I'm
Flash?
more of a fan of old school hip hop than new school hip hop for
Like
sure.
who's somebody like you when you were getting ready to get into the game? Who was somebody back then like you would kind of emulate and then maybe cover their songs?
Okay, so I like when you say emulating cover, it's probably like Ludacris. He ain't really too old school, but I was really a fan of the theatric aspect of Ludacris. But as far as like lyrically, I really like Rakim. I really like Papoose. That was one of the ones. Really lyrical guys who challenged my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. No, Ludacris is
Yeah.
I'm big on Ludacris from Justin Bieber's tune.
Yeah.
When I was 13, I had my first love. There was
Yeah.
nobody to compare to my baby. Ever come between us, ever gonna come above.
Look at him. Look at him. Man, I gotta tell you, you keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
I
man.
mean, you are. I look for inspiration where I can find it, and trust me, I have found it with your music. You're on my playlist, but you are going to inspire. You already have, but you're going to keep inspiring millions and millions of people. Keep doing what you're doing, please.
Yeah, and Yellow, listen, when you're up there at the the Grammys or something like that, don't forget, you mention us while you're up there. It's all good. So she's getting a colonoscopy, bro. Old people stuff. She's getting checked today. But listen, man, thank you so much. We'll have you back again when you have some new music coming out. We'll do it again. But thanks, bud. Absolute pleasure. And like Phil said, man, just keep the independent scene. Nobody can hold you down. Just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually, we'll be seeing you at those award shows, my man.
Most definitely. Thank y'all for having me.
All right, bud.
Thanks,
Take
Yellow.
care.
See you, man.
See you, pal. Philly,
Wow.
talented young man.
That guy,
extremely
man.
talented.
Yeah, very, very motivational, very inspirational.
Wow.
Man, oh man. Wow.
And you know what? He's a good-looking kid. He's got the voice. He's got the whole the brand. When you can come up with a brand like that, Yellopain, I mean, it's good. It's good. That's something that sticks, and he's good. You look out for him. He's gonna be a big deal someday. He's already a big deal. He's gonna be a bigger deal before you know it. But listen, man, you speaking of singers, you ready to do a little bit, my friend?
I'm gonna sing one song, and then I've got to go take care of some business, some family business.
Little family business. All right. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Make the ladies happy, bud, because they come out to see you, man.
Let's see here. How about a little Elvis tunage?
You going Elvis?
Do a little Elvis tune.
Light it up, baby.
Treat me like a fool. Treat me mean and cruel, but love me. Oh, ring my faithful heart, tear it all apart, but love me. Well, if you ever go, darling, I'll be oh so lonely. Oh, I'll be sad and blue, crying over you, dear only. I would beg and steal just to feel your heart, oh, beating close to mine. Well, if you ever go, darling, I'll be oh so lonely. I'll be sad and blue, crying over you, dear, only.
Oh, you got the growl from Will. He loved it.
Oh, man.
Philly Kid, another great show today. Great show tomorrow. We got a mentalist coming on. We got Curtis Steigers coming on. And listen, we leave today, as we have been leaving every single day. Freedom call, baby. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, soldier, for your noble sacrifice. Never forgotten how you paid the price. Our freedom is a strong one, paid with sweat and blood, tears and dirt. On the field it turns to mud. Freedom called, freedom called, and the chosen ones were ready. Freedom called, freedom called, and the chosen ones came running. Thank you, mothers, for sending us your best. We hear your cries and feel the heartbeat in your chest. Freedom called, freedom called, and the chosen ones were ready. Freedom called, yeah, freedom called, and the chosen ones came running. Thank you, soldier, for your noble sacrifice.